Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. I'm very excited to welcome Cody DERICKS back today to talk about a very important film celebrating its 25th anniversary, The Sixth Sense. How are we doing, Cody?
Doing well. I'm glad you said the title of the film and not me, because I can never pronounce the words correctly. Sixth is a really hard word, and then following it up with another S, it's tough.
Before we get into the awards run for The Sixth Sense and all of its Oscar nominations, we'll talk about those. Take me back to when you first saw The Sixth Sense, Cody. What was the first viewing experience?
So I definitely did not see this in theaters. I was too young for such spooky things. But I had a conception of the film already. It was such a part of the fabric of American pop culture in the late 90s. There were jokes, we didn't have the term for it then, but essentially real-life memes of I see dead people and other things from the movie. Mostly that part, though. I have never seen this film having not known the twist.
Yeah, I knew nothing going into this movie, Cody. This was an August release in 99, and I was huge into movies by that year. I was reading Entertainment Weekly. I was following the trajectories of all these films that are slowly coming out over the spring and summer. I didn't know anything about The Sixth Sense. This movie had zero buzz going into early August. I really only saw it that opening night because Bruce Willis was in it. He was a huge star, of course, at the time, and I had heard it was a ghost story. So that sold me. I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And that screening, it was bonkers insane at the end of that movie. People were just gasping in the audience. And it's one of those movies that does get better every time you watch it, even if you know the twist, as you said. It doesn't take anything away from the power of the movie. It's so haunting and so clever. I'm so happy Shyamalan holds back and doesn't show us too much, doesn't rush to the next plot points. He really lets these characters breathe and build throughout this movie.
To your point, you watch the movie waiting for a slip-up with the Bruce Willis character, knowing that he's, spoiler alert, dead the whole time. You keep waiting for a character to interact with him or something to happen that wouldn't logically make sense, and it all works.
Also, something about this movie I always think about is if he had picked the wrong kid, if he had picked the wrong actor. Haley Joel Osment is so incredible in this film. We had seen him in a couple things before this, but this was his breakthrough, and he is just a stunner in this movie.
It's not only the emotional depths he gets to, he has a natural energy that keeps him from being annoying or cloying. This is still a horror film. It's a film about a kid who sees ghosts. That's scary. So it has to have a sort of, it can't be an inspirational drama by nature, or the film will fall apart based on what it's aiming for.
Yeah, and what do you think of Bruce Willis in this movie? I've never thought of him as a great actor. I love him in Death Becomes Her and some of these things. He's great in Die Hard. But I would say The Sixth Sense is one of his stronger dramatic performances.
I would definitely say it's his best dramatic work. I think there's some really impressive stuff he does when he's not speaking. There's the famous I See Dead People scene. All the attention gets put on Haley Joel Osment in that scene. But Bruce Willis does such a good job of listening to that kid and conveying with his face, I'm a professional, I'm listening to this child divulge something so secret, and not only secret, something scary. He brings a charming quality to the film that helps keep it from being too morose, because it possibly could dip into, some really gloomy stuff based on just the concept of the film, and it never does.
Yeah, he's excellent. I also love Toni Collette. I've always loved her. Whenever you talk about the Oscars, basically, anytime, anywhere, you have to talk about Toni Collette being snubbed for Hereditary. But thankfully, she got this one Oscar nomination to date for The Sixth Sense. What do you think of Toni Collette in this movie?
First of all, the fact that she was 26 when this was released, meaning she was possibly even significantly younger when it was filmed, mind-blowing. Not that it's a character who's like old. Either she was a young mother, which would make sense for the character, or she's playing somebody a little bit older than herself in real life, and either way it works. I think she's unbelievable in this movie. I'm so glad she got the Oscar nomination she got. It should not be her only one to date, but what she does throughout the movie, but especially that last scene in the car, is some of my favorite screen acting of all time. That scene wrecks me every single time I watch it.
The scene in the car might be more famous in a way than the reveal of Bruce Willis as a dead person. Like, there's something about that scene in the car that just takes your breath away. And a lot of it is that Toni Collette performance. I mean, I do think that's what got her the Oscar nomination, was that scene. So as we get closer to the awards trajectory of The Sixth Sense, I mean, it must be talked about how big of a blockbuster The Sixth Sense was at the end of the summer of '99. This was not a movie anyone, I think, intended to be like $600 million blockbuster. I would assume the producers and everyone involved were hoping for like, maybe it'll make 50, 60 million nationwide, like maybe it'll be a small hit, but it makes almost $300 million in the United States, and it makes almost $700 million worldwide. That is crazy for a movie like this released in August.
It's a great film overall, but what gets audiences talking are those final 5 minutes. It's the kind of thing that not only do you want to run out and tell your friends, oh my god, you gotta see this movie, it has a crazy ending, but you yourself want to immediately go buy a ticket and watch it all over again to pick up on all the clues, to see if you can find a moment where, again, there's a slip-up or a hint as to what's going to come. It's the kind of movie that rewards multiple viewings, which is only good news for the box office.
So let's talk about award season for The Sixth Sense. It doesn't start off very well, Cody. At the Golden Globe Awards, it only gets 2 nominations, Best Supporting Actor for Haley Joel Osment and Best Screenplay for M. Night Shyamalan. Why do we think The Sixth Sense didn't do better at the Golden Globes?
So the Golden Globes being so early in terms of televised awards makes me imagine that there was hope for the film to be recognized by awards bodies, but maybe not a thought that it would. The 2 nominations it gets at the Globes, the screenplay and supporting actor for Haley Joel Osment, that's what you might imagine early in this film's run would be the best case scenario for this movie, because those are the 2 most easily identifiable achievements. The screenplay, if you're talking about the structure of the twist and just the concept of the film itself, and the performance of this kid. So it makes sense to me that if the Globes are going to nominate anything, they're going to nominate those 2 things. It's just funny that as the award season starts to pick up steam, it picks up more and more potential awards.
So Critics' Choice, it gets a Best Picture nomination, and it wins Best Child Performance for Haley Joel Osment. He is not nominated at Critics' Choice in Supporting Actor. That seems a little fishy to me. Like, oh, we'll give you a child performance trophy, but we're not going to let you into supporting actor.
Right.
So at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, this gets 1 nomination, of course, for Osment in supporting actor. So I think by the time we got to SAG, it looked pretty likely he was going to get the Oscar nomination. But I can't say any other category was a sure thing. So then at BAFTA, interestingly, there is no Osment in supporting actor. The film at BAFTA doesn't get an acting nomination, but it gets into Best Film, Best Director, Best Screenplay Original, and Best Editing. I feel like if you're going to nominate The Sixth Sense for Best Film and Best Director, how do you not nominate Haley Joel Osment?
That is weird. To me. That's really weird.
All right, Cody, so let's talk about the Oscars. The Sixth Sense gets into 6 categories. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Osment, Best Supporting Actress for Collette, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Film Editing. What do you think of those 6 nominations at the Oscars?
First of all, it's really cute. I never put together that they got 6 nominations for The Sixth Sense. That's right. Good work there, Academy. The Toni Collette nomination, I haven't rewatched the nomination announcement in a little bit, but I wonder if it was kind of a surprise reaction to that nomination, because I'm not finding any precursors for her at all. She got some awards attention a few years prior for Muriel's Wedding. She got that Golden Globe nomination, so her name was being bounced around awards spheres, I imagine. But picture, director, 2 acting, screenplay, and editing, that's amazing. That's amazing. And they're all deserved.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that Collette got basically nothing before the Oscars. That doesn't happen very often, especially nowadays, where you miss every precursor from Golden Globes to BAFTA and then you get the Oscar nomination. Like, it happens here and there, but it's pretty rare, and for Toni Collette to get in for this performance in this movie is awesome. All right, so let's break down the categories, starting with film editing. The nominees are American Beauty, The Cider House Rules, The Insider, The Sixth Sense, and the winner is The Matrix. We talked about this a few months ago in our Matrix video. What do you think of this nomination for The Sixth Sense and that win for The Matrix in film editing?
I mean, that Matrix win is incredible. I'm not going to argue with that. We've talked about it. One of the best in this category, period. And again, I do think it's maybe a little bit surprising that American Beauty doesn't triumph here because it was so beloved, and that editing is not anonymous or hidden. It's a pretty kinetic and visually active film. The Sixth Sense getting into editing is interesting. I wonder if part of the reason is because of the structure of the reveal of the twist, where it goes back and shows parts of the movie that are relevant to Bruce Willis's character being dead. I wonder if maybe voters in their mind kind of had that moment as I remember the editing in that film.
Yeah, there's nothing remarkable about the editing in The Sixth Sense. I think it goes to just how strong the movie is overall. We oftentimes see Best Picture nominees get into film editing. I think that helped The Sixth Sense here. It was never going to beat American Beauty or The Matrix. So next is Best Original Screenplay. The nominees are Being John Malkovich, Magnolia, The Sixth Sense, Topsy Turvy. The winner is, of course, American Beauty. What do we think of that category?
This is a pretty great lineup. I will confess I have not seen Topsy Turvy, but Being John Malkovich, Magnolia, and The Sixth Sense are all films that get actively talked about to this day. So much so that I think this kind of represents the year as a category better than Best Picture even does. Any of those three would have been worthy winners. I probably would consider The Sixth Sense the greatest achievement of them all because of the structure. Again, the ability to go back and rewatch it after you've learned the twist and the film's even better. That's beyond impressive. Being John Malkovich and Magnolia are conceptually incredible with some really fantastic dialogue. American Beauty makes sense as a winner. It's a very screenplay-forward movie. If I would be predicting it to win one award, what would be the most likely award for American Beauty to win this night, I probably would say screenplay. That feels like the star of the show of the film.
Yeah, I was thinking today, what was the closest The Sixth Sense got to winning something? Would screenplay be the closest it's got? I mean, it might have been in second.
Supporting actor. I feel like there was probably, we'll talk about it, I feel like there's probably a fairly decent argument for a three-way race for the top. But screenplay, I would assume it probably was in second place. I just think American Beauty was winning this so easily that it would be a far distant second.
Let's move on now to Best Supporting Actress, Cody. The nominees are Toni Collette, The Sixth Sense, Catherine Keener, Being John Malkovich, Samantha Morton, Sweet and Low Down, Chloe Sevigny, Boys Don't Cry. The winner is Angelina Jolie, Girl Interrupted. What do you think of this category?
Toni Collette is my personal pick of this category, although there's not any bad performances here. All five of them are doing exactly what they're supposed to do in their films to the best of their ability. Angelina Jolie is a very good win, though. I do appreciate that she has an Oscar in her house, even if I'm not the biggest fan of this film overall. What she's doing is very attention-grabby and very character-y, and her being Hollywood royalty and the, child of Jon Voight, it makes sense that she wins this.
Yeah, Toni Collette easily could have missed here. None of us really these days, maybe talking about acting Oscar snubs at the end of the 90s, some of us might say, well, Toni Collette would have been a worthy nominee for The Sixth Sense. But I don't think people would have been up in arms about it. It's just really cool that she missed every precursor. I couldn't find a single Critics' Prize that she won or was nominated for. But then she gets into the Oscars. That shows the Academy really, really loved the movie. Okay, Best Supporting Actor, Cody. The nominees are Tom Cruise, Magnolia, Michael Clarke Duncan, The Green Mile, Jude Law, The Talented Mr. Ripley, Haley Joel Osment, The Sixth Sense. The winner is Michael Caine, The Cider House Rules. So we think Osment had a chance here?
I do. I think if you're going to recognize the film for anything, he's one of the most obvious things to award. The movie revolves around his performance. The whole I see dead people moment becomes a thing because of his delivery of that line and his performance in that whole scene. I do think Haley Joel Osment had a chance here, but the fact that he didn't win is not surprising.
Yeah, it's crazy that we've never had a child win Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. Timothy Hutton was 20, I think, when he won for Ordinary People. He's still the youngest person. Yeah, I feel like Osment needed to win something in Supporting Actor, like at Golden Globes or SAG or something. Like Michael Caine won at SAG, and Tom Cruise won at the Golden Globes. So, like, even though he got, like, child performance at Critics' Choice, he needed something bigger to really be a contender to win at the Oscars. I always had him in third place behind Michael Caine and Tom Cruise. All right, 2 categories left. Let's talk about Best Director. The nominees are Spike Jonze, being John Malkovich, Lasse Hallström, The Cider House Rules, Michael Mann, The Insider, M. Night Shyamalan, The Sixth Sense, and the winner is Sam Mendes, American Beauty. What do we think about this category?
I think it's pretty decent. The Lasse Hallström nomination makes sense. It's something the Academy definitely would do and did. It's my least favorite of these 5 nominees. You know, like American Beauty or not, it is a very heavily directed film. That film has a vision, even if I think it's kind of scattered and unclear, but it has a perspective. And being John Malkovich, The Insider, and The Sixth Sense all have a very clear directorial stamp. You know, they're very apparently directed. So it makes sense why they got into this category.
It's really cool that they included Shyamalan. They could have given him screenplay and not director, had put in someone else here. And, I mean, there were other people that year who were also deserving of getting in. I think Paul Thomas Anderson would have made a great nominee for Magnolia. The win here for Shyamalan was getting into both original screenplay and director. And finally, we have Best Picture. The nominees are The Cider House Rules, The Green Mile, The Insider, The Sixth Sense. The winner is American Beauty. The Sixth Sense got into Best Picture, Cody. What do we think of that?
I love it. It's my personal winner of this 5. It's one of my favorite films of 1999. And looking at how the Academy chose to recognize this year with emphasis on films that aren't as well regarded 25 years later, it's kind of amazing that The Sixth Sense managed to get in. And not only managed to get in, but was clearly beloved by the Academy. I don't think it was in 5th place here, which is surprising for a horror film released in August.
Yeah, I mean, it's either in 2nd or 3rd place. The Cider House Rules did very well across the board. It won Adapted Screenplay, so I guess that was in 2nd. I would like to think Sixth Sense might have been in 2nd place.
I wouldn't think that. I'm happy that you do. I think it probably is 4th place. I think it's definitely behind The Cider House Rules, which to me screams runner-up. It wins Screenplay and Supporting Actor, has a director nomination. The Insider and Sixth Sense are somewhere around 3 and 4.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I said. I said that Sixth Sense was in 3rd place. So, I mean,
okay.
I don't know if the...
Oh, so we're fighting.
You made it sound
Cody,
like
if you were listening to me, that's what I said.
You made it sound like I said something crazy, and I was like...
I just don't think it was in 2nd. No way.
Right, but it's just so much better than Cider House
Well,
Rules.
yes, Brian, but most years we don't get what we want with the Academy Awards.
We don't get what we want.
I don't know if you've noticed that, Mr. Awards contender.
So, as we wrap up here, Cody, on its 25th anniversary, what are your final thoughts about The Sixth Sense and its awards run at the Oscars?
I think it's one of the indelible films of not only 1999, but the end of this first century of filmmaking. I think it uses the tools of filmmaking to tell a story that is both surprising, upsetting, and strangely optimistic at the end of the day. Watching it this time, I was struck by how well it works as a metaphor for childhood depression. This whole thing of he has this secret that he can't share with his mom, so he starts altering his behavior at school. You know, he starts drawing only happy things because they don't put you in therapy for rainbows, as he says. They don't have meetings about rainbows. And at the end, he's not cured of this burden, but he learns to work with it and live with it and find a way for it to benefit himself. The movie is so much more than the twist, which movies with twists need to have a foundation around them to support the twist, and this film absolutely does, and it totally stands up all these years later. I think its awards run is something of a miracle. You could not have imagined when this film, I can't imagine seeing the trailer for this film for the first time and thinking, Best Picture contender. 6 nominations right there. No way.
Yeah, the overperformance of The Sixth Sense on Oscar nominations morning was one of the great surprises that year. It felt like it was getting into screenplay and supporting actor, but that was probably going to be it. That's what I thought at the time. So for it to get into picture and director is just fantastic. I love this movie. It's one of my 10 favorite films of 1999. And I am so happy it got 6 Oscar nominations. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think of The Sixth Sense on its 25th anniversary? Do you think it should have won any Oscars in early 2000? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.